Okay, today is going to be really cool. And it off the bat, it's going to be different from our typical workshop. Oh, yay, Audra's here. I know typically we spend the majority of our time writing cards. Obviously, it's called Just Send a Damn Card. But today, I just thought it would be nice to just slow down. And instead of just being wrapped up in all the resolutions and goals and all these, the New Year's planning, I love that stuff. I think it's awesome. Hey, Audra, but I just think I don't personally think there's enough out there that is encouraging of us looking back and really soaking in what we just went through and what we worked through and just celebrating the wins that we've had. We just continually move our goalposts, right? I do this all the time myself. And I just think that it's really important that we take this time in our workshop today. I mean, of course we'll write cards at the end. But I just want to do a lot of that today and check in with ourselves. So let's get started, shall we? Okay. Welcome. I have my notes here. Welcome, Angela. Anastasia, you guys know each other, right? Yeah. Anastasia, you can unmute too. How do you guys know each other?
It goes way back.
Yeah, we're great friends. Angela
generational.
She's been a recipient of a lot of cards that I write on and during workshops. So,
Aww, awesome.
And yeah, I brought her in today so she could write some cards.
Yay! Are you the one that was lucky to get her stash, the collection?
Yes, and she told me that she just told me, so I want to shout her out that she wrote 10 cards yesterday.
What are you doing here then? I'm just kidding.
And I stamped them.
That's
so they're ready to go.
That's amazing.
Way to go. That is awesome. Well, congrats. I'm glad you did that because like I said, we're not going to write as many cards as we normally do today, but that's freaking awesome. Way to go. Okay. Well, not that you're going to need them, Angela, but I did want to do a little giveaway today. If you guys, for any time one of you shares anything, I have a little roster. I'm just going to put a little tick next to your name as a point, an entry. And if you guys want to take a picture of our group today, if you share it to Instagram and tag me, that's another 2 entries. And I will pick a winner tomorrow to get anytime check-in cards. Okay. I'm putting 6 of these together. We've got, you're doing a great job. You can give that anytime to anyone, literally anyone, but especially any woman, moms, anytime. You're simply the best. This works for everyone, for all sorts of things, even birthdays. You're really good at what you do. Teachers, if you're, going back to from break, teachers love this one. Shayna's an educator here, and I just want to send this to you through my screen because I know you are. This I consider an anytime card because you can thank someone for anything. You can thank them for being a great friend. You can thank them for bending an ear. You can thank them for helping you with some weird tech issue. Dad, my mom or dad. You can thank them for all kinds of stuff. You are so loved. Another one that you can't go wrong with at any time, especially if someone's having a hard time. And then you are doing it, which again, back to school, starting a new job, made it through the holidays, going through January, made it through a day. I mean, Jesus, any occasion. So that's up for grabs. Okay. That's going to be the giveaway today. And then we are, let's see where I'm at here. Okay. And one last thing before we kind of get into our first activity real quick. A lot of you guys know Just Send the Damn Card it's been about cards this whole time. It's been about, because we all know how important cards are, and that's not changing. But as a lot of you guys know, I have been working behind the scenes a bit, and I'm going to be rebranding our community and just talking about the fact that we already do this, but we do spend a lot of time refilling our own cup before we pour into others. And I think that's so important. And so I'm going to change the look of things. I might be talking about it differently, but that's going to be our focus for this coming year is really carving out time for ourselves. I really want this to be a space where givers give to themselves. That's the tagline that I keep coming back to. And so just want to give you guys a heads up on that because this is so important to me. And as important as it is to pour into our relationships with others, I think it's as important, if not more, to carve out time, especially as women, for ourselves and to make sure that we're good and that we're checking in with ourselves and that sometimes we write love letters to ourselves. Sometimes we write little, congrats, and just usually I have a journal prompt at the beginning of the workshop, but we're going to keep doing that, but there's going to be more of a focus on that going forward. And I mean, that's a lot of what we're going to do today. So I would love to start out by just taking our cards that we have. Hopefully you guys have some next to you. Cards that you've received this year. When's the last time, you guys can just unmute and put it out there. When's the last time any of us pulled cards that we've received that we've kept and actually read them?
I have this one on my desk and it's staying on my desk.
Yes.
And this one's from you.
Aw, that's really
Sarah, all of your cards are on my desk behind me. Like I have them up
Seriously?
on, yeah, I put them up with little
Aw.
magnets. Here, let me turn off my background and see if I can figure out how to turn off my background so that I can show
Hold on.
you.
Is that Stanley?
I just
It
noticed
is. It's Stanley from The Office. Yeah.
That's amazing. He is by far one of my favorite characters of all time.
Isn't he awesome? Yeah. During lockdown and virtual learning, one of my colleagues had that and sent it to me, and I was like, that is the best background ever. So like back here I have like a little space with magnets and stuff, and your cards are all up there.
That is awesome. I swear to you, I didn't ask this question. I didn't have this prompt for it to come back to me. I swear to you. But
isn't it beautiful that it does?
It is. And that means a lot to me. Thank you for sharing that. I definitely have cards on my desk, but I don't know that I have, since putting them there after reading them the first time, I don't think I've actually opened them up to read them again. And so why do we keep these things, right? So let's actually do that right now. I want to give us like at least 10 minutes to just go through. And if you don't want to do this, no offense, again, you make this thing, whatever you want to make it, write cards, do whatever you want to do. But I want to take at least 10 minutes to go through the cards that we do have, whether they are on your desk or I have a bin next to me that I put mine in, and just put ourselves back in that time, put ourselves back in that moment, whatever we were going through that made that person send the card, and let's just really soak it in. Sound good? Okay. All right. I'm not going to put music on this time. Angela, sometimes I do instrumental music so we don't get distracted by lyrics, but the last workshop, I still haven't uploaded the replay because YouTube was like, oh, copyright. And I'm like, please make my life easier. So I'm not going to do it this time, but so let's kind of reconvene in about 10 minutes. Okay. Okay. Oh, and if you guys want to get points and if you feel like sharing, you can pull aside one card that really meant a lot to you, because I want it to kind of spark ideas for cards that we can write. Okay. All right. Kat, welcome in. It's so good to see you. It's so good to see you.
Gosh, it's been a while.
I know it's been super long. God, I freaking love workshop days. I just kind of gave us all an assignment to spend about 10 minutes looking at cards that we've received, that we've hung on to, and to actually go back and read them, not just kind of flip through them, but to read them and try to put ourselves back in that moment of whatever we were going through, whatever time it was, and really take in what the person wrote to us, because I don't think we do that. And why do we keep cards if we don't do that? So, yeah. So about 10 minutes. Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and unmute myself and sort of kick us off because I knew this, I'll admit, I knew this exercise would be cool, but it's really freaking cool. For me anyway. Are you feeling that too? Has anyone ever done this before? Have you actually gone through and reread cards? No.
When I used to, when I was in high school, I have a tin. I know it's around here somewhere where I kept like the most meaningful ones.
Yeah.
And I would pull that out for several years. And I just haven't. I don't know if it's because we're in a new space or if that hasn't been part of the routine. But yeah, I think the last time I opened that tin was probably 5 or 6 years ago. But
Oh, man.
and I never really added to it. It's stuff that I received like way back then.
Yeah, you've got to find it and go through it.
I do.
Yeah. May, I just saw your comment that you do this pretty regularly. Can you tell me about that? Because that's awesome.
I think it's because I'm a word person.
Yeah.
And I love words, even like really simple notes or letters from people. So I don't save everything, but there are just particular people. Sometimes it's the special note, but often it's just the person. If I get something from that person, it just means so much. And there are just times when I'm sad or missing them because I have the unfortunate problem of living far away from everyone that I consider my people. So
Yeah.
periodically I just like will pull them out. I keep them in a bag right by my desk and I'll just go through and just read some of them and yeah.
Oh, that's cool. That's inspiring to me because I'm also a words person. And I probably 2 years ago, when I launched my business, actually, I started taking screenshots of messages people send me that are like, especially positive related to my business. And I will go back to that folder. Usually it's when I like need a testimonial or something, but like I will find myself going back to it and it always makes me feel so much better. And it reminds me of my why. I think I'm kind of blown away by this because we forget how much we've done. We forget how much we've done in a year. I mean, Kat, it's kind of serendipitous that you're here because one of the first cards that I pulled out was the card we wrote to ourselves to thank our bodies. That was a challenging prompt. I don't know if you guys remember this.
I love that one. I came across that one and was
Did
like,
you?
wow, I am so glad that this is still in this little box.
Yeah. And I mean, just kind of going down from like, thank you, brain, for my creative thoughts. Thank you, hands, for helping me actually create, the things that I think of. My arms for being able to hug my girl. Like, I never would have done this, by the way, without you guys. Like and this is so cool. I never would have flipped through my phone to try to find a picture of this,
Right.
And maybe my girl will see it someday. I'm just going ahead and sharing, and anyone can share after this. This also happened to be one of the early cards I pulled. Our own Anastasia made this card. Are you kidding? Look at this like gold foiled card. And it's so simple. She was showing me all about the Cricut and like what you can make with it. And it just simply says, hey, Sarah, you're amazing. Keep going. Cards are magic. Anastasia. And I love this so much. And this was I wanted to share this one. This was one of my first cards that I launched with when I had a drop shipper fulfilling everything because I thought, I'm going to be so busy. Everyone's going to buy my stuff. I can't keep inventory. That's hilarious, right? And it's my mom's handwriting. It says, sure do love you.
Oh.
And it just said, she sent it with a care package. This is my mom's handwriting. I'm going to have that forever. Like she didn't even have to say anything. And one other one that I'll share is this Megan, who's also in our community. It was a thank you note for gifts from her baby shower. And she mentioned in it, I gave her one of my prints that says, you're doing a great job. Cause I strongly feel every new mom should have that front and center in the nursery, where she's going to see it every day. And she just thanked me for that and reminded me that what I'm doing with our community is important, and thanked me for being vulnerable and honest. And it's like, okay, I needed that, because we spin our wheels off and wondering if we're doing the right thing, if we're on the right track. And here it is, confirmation. So I don't know. I'm just really inspired by this and by all of you. Does anyone else want to share?
Yeah, I'll share. I think one of the cool things about it is that, you know, we have journals and logs of our thoughts on ourselves and things that we've done that we know that we've done. And the old cards are almost like a journal about you from other people.
Yeah.
And it's always only
Yeah.
going to be people that like you, which is great. You know, like nobody sends you a card that's like, fuck off, and you would throw it away. You keep the ones, you know, you keep the ones that are positive and loving. And
Yeah.
I didn't know any of the themes. It just popped up on my calendar. I was like, oh, I'll jump. And I have a thank you note sitting on here. And I had completely forgotten that I did these things for this person. So it's just nice to have it's the log of appreciation or something, you know.
I love that framing around it, that it's almost like a journal about you written by someone else. I've never thought of that.
Yeah.
May is an author. If you guys have not bought her book, it's it's so beautiful in one word. And what was my train of thought there? I just freaking lost
What's it called, the book?
Yeah, we need name of the book and full author name.
May, go ahead.
It's called Girls, Assassins, and Other Bad Ideas. And it's a heavy memoir. So it's not as adventurous as it sounds. It could be like a really cool kick-ass detective book, but it's not.
But I like wrote a review saying, and I believe this, that you call it heavy, but I also think it's just very real. Like you hit on themes that are relevant in all of our lives in some shape or form, maybe not at all specific, like they look very specific to you, but they're common themes that I feel like with this book have done the work of addressing and processing in a way that all of us can just, I admire you for it and thank you for it. Yeah. So go get her book. But I was going to say it's the idea of writing a memoir or something is daunting, but to have, I mean, Kat, you basically just made me feel like I've got my memoir right here.
There you go.
Anyway,
I
yeah.
like the idea that Kat said, like, someone who's mad at you is not going to send you a card. It's like so funny. If you imagine if we did like
That would be,
Well, that's what like every other communications you're getting from other people offers that, like
yeah.
Instagram, Facebook, email, like people do write that shit, but
Right.
nobody takes the time.
it's gonna like stamp a card and put it in the mail.
Right. Well,
It
that's one
reminds
of the
me-
things too, if you're thinking about it, like, isn't that what you're supposed to do when you're super mad at somebody and you hate them? You're supposed to write them a letter and then actually never send it. Like
Yeah.
you're supposed to go through the whole process and then get it out and then not send it. But
Yeah.
What if we did?
I do that a lot.
What if we did? Yeah, what if we did?
Is it helpful for you, Shayna? It must be if you do it a lot.
100%. And it's my biggest piece of advice when people share frustrations with me. I tell them, this is what works for me after, of course, asking, do you want advice or do you just want me to listen?
Yeah.
But when people ask for advice, that is my number one thing. But it's interesting because I have a girlfriend going through some stuff right now and I'm like, write him 10 letters a day, but don't send them. Like if you really want someone to read them, send them to a friend, but don't send them to this other person because you're not going to receive what it is that you're
What you
looking
need.
for.
Yeah.
And so that's
Really good
been
advice.
Yeah.
that's something that I stand by. I mean, I have journals full of stuff. It's interesting to look back at some of those and see the journey through that.
Gosh.
So May, I totally just ordered your book on Amazon. I'm super excited about it. I too just wrote what could become a memoir.
That's great.
I'm a letter writer. I'm a much better blogger than novelist. And so that it speaks to me to meet people who have written their own memoirs.
That's right.
And I do it through letters. And this last year that I did it was really powerful. And so I'm kind of excited about exploring what that may or may not turn into. But I appreciate you being willing to write it and then put it out there. I really applaud that. That's some shit ton bravery right there. And I'm
Exactly.
super impressed.
Yeah.
You guys should sync up. I feel like you have a lot in common. Yeah. And Shayna, you did that challenge, not to get totally off track here, but that challenge where you do it within a certain number of months, right?
Yeah, I did it for National Novel Writing Month. So 50,000 words in 30 days.
Amazing.
Wow.
God, that's amazing. one last thing I personally, we're talking about like not sending it to someone, not that I would send a terrible card to anyone, but there is something about, okay, if anyone's a Seinfeld fan here and it's the Festivus episode and there's a part where they like air their grievances or something, I would love that. I would love if we gather, if like everyone just told me what they didn't like or what was like pissing them off about, I would love that. I just think that like,
would you really though? Like, I feel like that would get overwhelming. Like, I do appreciate it when people say like, hey, I was upset about that. And that's, you know, I appreciate having those conversations, but
maybe there would need to be some parameters like boundaries set around it. But I will say, I feel like, okay, with my business, especially if I'm annoying, if I'm like not doing something that like you want to see more of, let's not waste the time. You're doing me like a disservice by not telling me, like, give it to me. And it's usually not personal, right? Like it's usually not that personal. It's not like a reflection of like the person that I am or my character. Like I know I'm a good person, you know, but I might be fucking something up. Like just tell me, I don't know. And we'll, let's just save that time. But anyway, okay, that was a really fun tangent. I feel like I need to do a better job of keeping us on track here because this happens every time. We just have fun and we get off track. And then I'm like, I've only written one card. Haven't written any cards this time. So, okay, I thought it would be cool kind of while we're, you know, to transition from reading about us and things that we've done, things that we've gone through and hearing from through someone else's lens. I just thought it would be cool to dive in a little bit more on and answer some questions for ourselves. And so if you've got something to write on, great. You can also put this in the chat if you're comfortable. Again, whatever feels right to you. But yeah, I just want to do a little bit more reflecting on, yeah, just ourselves this past year. Let me pull up my questions here that I typed up. And I'm attempting to make it a little bit easier for you guys. I'm kind of doing like a Mad Libs style, sort of a fill in the blank here. So, because I know I would need that. Okay, you guys all have something to write with? You are ready, Shayna, I see you. Okay. Okay, let's just again look back on like the good that came from the year, right? And in particular with cards and around cards. So I thought the first one, okay, in 2022, I did a great job reaching out to, and put someone's name down that comes to mind. And then the second blank in that is when. Okay, so for me, it might be something like, I did a great job reaching out to my friend when she had a baby and had a hard time. And I can send these to you guys afterwards if you want to just fill in your answers and not have it be like a complete sentence. And if you've got time, you're a quick writer, you can do this a couple times. You can write a few names if you want, whatever feels good to you guys. But in 2022, I did a great job reaching out to blank when blank. And then a follow up to that, I think, because again, we don't really take the time to think about what we have done. We just blow past it and move on to the next goalpost. Let's complete this one. It says, when I sent that person a card, it felt, fill in the blank. And it might be when I called that person, it felt. When I texted that person, when I brought over a meal, it felt. And then the last part, to them, it felt. And I know we don't always get responses back when we send cards, but sometimes we do. And I think it's worth, even if it was just a simple thank you or text or so, I think it's worth, again, letting that kind of sink in a little bit deeper. And the reason why is because, of course, we have that opportunity with every single person in our life. So we could do this over and over and over again. Okay, so in 2022, I did a great job reaching out to blank when blank. When I sent that person a card or a text or you name it, it felt blank. And to them, it felt fill in the blank. Like I mentioned in my email, nothing groundbreaking here, but I think we don't do this very often. And I wanted to do this for myself as well. Does anyone feel like sharing what they wrote? Kat, I told people that anytime they shared, it was an entry for them into, you get a point into cards that I'm giving away, and I'll pick a winner by tomorrow.
Well, then there you go. I'll share.
Awesome.
I reached out to a friend that I hadn't talked to in a long time, and there was bad blood, whatever, between us. When I reached out to them, I reached out to Julia when I needed an answer about our friendship. It felt harder than I thought to hear her answer on our friendship. And to her, it felt exhausting. So,
Oh,
surprising.
wow. Do you think it was, and feel free to say pass if I'm prying.
Sure.
Was
Yeah,
it,
right.
are you glad that you did it?
Yes, because I don't want to beat a dead horse. And I don't, if she's exhausted by it, then obviously there's something that's not working. And so my continuously, it started to feel a little bit like, hey, and, I didn't want her to suffer anymore, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a bummer.
I really applaud you for not just sharing that just now, but for doing that, because I mean, my God, like 98% of people I feel like would just skip over that like weirdly shaped opportunity, right? Because it's so much easier. And I've been listening a lot to Glennon Doyle's podcast, and she's very, I mean, have you heard it recently? She's just been like extra raw, extra real. And but I think that is ultimately living life, is just being fully ourselves and saying how we feel and leaning into how we feel and expressing that to other people. Like, of course, it's out of love and out of care for others. And I just think that when we don't do that, even though it's scary as hell and uncomfortable, that's when we miss out on life itself, Yeah.
And I also think that, especially in that case, but in other ones too, like, it's there, it's sitting in the corner of your heart, you're just not dealing with it, and it'll just crust over, and that you'll just always know it. I have a list of people that I owe certain apologies to, and I'm going to try this year to do one more. Taking it slow.
No, Kat, I'm putting like 5 ticks next to your name. That was a big shit.
It's the tears. It's the tears. Somebody else cry, you'll get more points.
Extra point for tears. Yeah, no. That was really, God, that was big. Thank you for that. God, that is, I mean, just goes to like the power a card can have, right? Like that probably wouldn't have happened, and that progress wouldn't have been made, even though it's hard progress. Like if you send a text or something, like it's just, paper is important, Okay, Anastasia, I saw that you unmuted. Did you want to share?
I guess this is a little lighter, but Kat, thanks for being really brave and sharing that. Mine is, in 2022, I did a great job of reaching out to Angela. She's here today. Every time I thought about how much our friendship means to me. So I guess on the positive note of that, and that's Sarah's card. That like maintaining a friendship, and being proactive is so important. We're not close, distance geographically.
Yeah.
So being intentional, I think just in like every relationship, it taught me that like the more work you put into it, the more it flourishes.
Mhm.
And that was a fun lesson to learn because I feel like our friendship has flourished this year. And it felt amazing. And to them, it felt, well, she can say, but I feel like every time she just sent me a watery eyes emoji. And that's just how I think of it. We're just like emotional and overwhelming.
So
Yeah.
I just moved to LA from the Bay Area, and I don't know anyone down here. And Natasha's just really good at bringing familiarity where
Mm.
it can feel very uncomfortable. And that's what like these cards do. Like yesterday, I'm still in this very uncomfortable situation, right, in LA. Yesterday, she's like, a package is arriving for you. And I was like, okay, I'll get it when I get off work. I go down and it's like it's heavy. It is a heavy bag. And my boyfriend picks it up and's like, what is in here? And I was like, I don't know. So I like, she made this, it's my name. And then I like open it up and it's literally cards
Amazing.
individually wrapped with envelopes. She gave me like what are these return addresses? She gave me stamps, like just, I don't know, just receiving something like that in the mail and just receiving like a communication that you've never received before feels like what she said, very intentional and very just like, it takes a lot to write something out and to send something. And I'm the worst person to do that. I'll do anything but that. Literally. I will go on Instacart and I will send you a cake.
She has done this.
I have done this. Like she's arrived home one day and she's like, my favorite Dunkin' Donuts order is at my apartment. And how did you do it? And I'm just like, I don't know, the technology aspect. And she sent it and she's like, you physically have to write a card now. You can't not. I gave you everything that you need.
Well, only because you told me you wanted to. And also one of my
Yes.
goals, like we've done in the past in this workshop, there's what's the name of that book where she wrote a card for every day?
I want to thank you.
I want to thank you. Or like every day, well, like it averaged out to being
Yeah.
a card every day. And that was my goal. I was like, I really want to do this. And like I tried with the tracker, but I didn't get a card out a day, honestly, like not even close. But I thought I want to get more cards out there. But I think that I can get more cards out there by sending other people cards to send because I have
So smart.
so many cards.
You
and
packed the system.
I can't buy more cards.
Well, here comes Mama HUD. My mom's coming in and I just am so
Aw.
happy about this. Hey, Mama. Oh, connecting to audio. Anastasia, that is the smartest hack. I'm like, I was mad at myself that I hadn't thought of it. I hadn't thought of it myself. I was like, that is so great because yes. And I think it's important that Angela, that you wanted to send more. I think it would be different if your friend didn't mention anything about it. And then all of a sudden a stack of cards popped up on their doorstep. I think that would be a little bit different, but I just love this. I just like, you guys inspire me to be a better friend and to check in more often and to just send the damn card. That is really, really sweet.
And Angela, I'm in Orange County. I'll be friends with you.
Shayna, yes, I would love that.
Yes.
I will get your details in the chat.
Sounds good.
Yes. Okay. I would love to just do maybe a little tight, like just let's flip it. Okay. A little bit more last reflection exercise. And I want to flip it. So let's come back to ourselves and let's journal a little bit about, who made you feel good? Like who maybe sent you cards, who checked in with you, who are the people that made you feel good most often this past year? You can just list out names. You can write a little bit about why they might have reached out or when. I also, flipping through my box of the cards that I've kept, it became very obvious to me how much time someone, like a couple of my friends, have spent collectively a lot of time writing to me and sending me things. Like, a couple of you in our community have done the same. And it kind of blows me away. Like when you look at that and you see how special, like we all know how special it is to get something in the mail, but when you see several, like just one after another, and you think about that person's time, I think that's really special. And I just want to, again, just take these things in and not blow past them going into the new year.
I want to share that one of my close friends sent me this last year, and it's one of the things that I pulled out and read. And she just, because I was looking for a job and I finally got one, and Angela was really supportive here too, but she just reminded me it's only a season. And she just said, it won't be this hard forever. And it's on like notebook paper. And I have this on my desk because it meant so much to me. And it's just a reminder that like you can rip a piece of notebook paper and like it doesn't have to be fancy. You can just write it and send it. And
Totally.
it meant the world to me.
And what a great message too. I mean, that does not need anything else around it. It doesn't need any
No.
stuff. Like that is so powerful. That's such a great reminder. Yeah, I love that. I remember my sister-in-law told me when I was in the thick of it as a new mom, she just would text me out of the blue and say, this is temporary. Same type of thing. And it's like, you forget about that. I remember thinking, oh my God, I'm never going to wear jeans again. Like, this is my life now. I believe that. I knew it in my core. Like, I'm never wearing jeans again. This is my life. And text would come through. This is temporary. Like, okay, I don't believe you right now, but I will trust you, and of course she's right. So that's such a great reminder. Yeah. If anyone else wants to share, just who made you feel good this past year? Like, what did they say? And I think, yeah, it's cool if they said something so simple, or if they said something a little bit deeper, more meaningful. Let's just take the time to acknowledge that right now. And also give each other ideas on what we can say to our friends.
Sarah, I put you on my list.
You did?
Yeah. The email that you sent me at the end of the year really, I was crying. I read it to my husband. I was super, super touched by that.
Really?
Yeah. I felt really seen, and I admire you so much. I'm going to start crying. I admire you so much. And so for you to want me in your circle feels really good.
Thank you. Wow. Right back at you too. I really appreciate your email back to me recently, even though I didn't respond because I was I've kind of shared, just been in a funk, and I know it's like mild depression. I know what it looks like now. And I'm coming out of it this week, but that really meant a lot to me too, Shayna, what you wrote. It's one that I've screenshotted and put in my folder. Okay, this is a feel-good workshop, I have to say. This is like the best thing ever.
Okay, you super need to reschedule these for weekends or after school so that I can come back.
Not even like this. This is totally different from what we normally do, but wow. Yeah, it makes me want to do some type of reflection gathering, maybe once a month or something like this. That was really cool. Thank you. A tick mark next to your name too, Shayna. Okay.
Kat and I'll split those cards.
That's awesome. Does anyone else want to quickly share before we go on the next thing? And I know we're running low on time here. Just anything that someone sent to you, and it can be quick, like a quick share, some words that someone shared with you that really meant a lot to you this past year.
I'll share something. So I'm this year or last year, my theme was honesty. And it's not a theme that goes away, but I've been trying to be hyper honest with myself and people around me. And that even goes to am I being honest about what I can give people? Am I being honest about the situations that I'm in? And so
that's
I'm
so hard to do, by the way. So
yeah.
Yeah.
so I'm in a program, and I have a mentor who sends me, she also might send me as many cards as Natasha. I'm not even joking. I get every week she sends me her poetry, and she sent me something that said, the first thing was, the words you speak become the house you live in. So it's like in this card, she put it at the top. So it's the first thing that I read. And then another thing was, I hope that you will always reside in the hands of honesty. That is where the real riches are. And sometimes, I don't know, again, I'm in this like really weird transition of my life, right? I'm very uncomfortable, but when I receive this, it's kind of like, like the hard stuff happens, but you just stick to your honest truth, and you're going to be okay there. So that was also a really like impactful card that I received this year.
Gosh. I have to share a book recommendation that my friend Selena, I just got it last night, and I was up way later than I normally am because I was flipping through it. Young Pueblo. Have you guys heard of this author? What's his actual name is Diego something. Angela, I feel like this is right up your alley. This is, everything you just talked about. Are you freaking out about something? Are you?
I have one of his other books.
Connection.
I don't have it with me. I only took like 10 books with me, and I have like 200, but yes, I'm very familiar with that author. I love him.
Okay.
Such a great poet. Clarity
Yeah.
and Connection is the one that I have.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, we are going to run out of time, and I feel like not get through everything. That's okay. That's okay. Let's just spend a little bit of time. I'm sorry, Angela, you came in. And by the way, I've been saying Anastasia. Do you prefer Natasha?
I have like two names. So Natasha's like a childhood name that I grew up with. It's a nickname for Anastasia. And then Anastasia is like in my like adult life. So it's like,
I feel like an idiot this whole time.
No, that is my name. That's my name, like at work, in school, like that was my name, but Natasha is my childhood nickname. So that followed. So it's kind of like, yeah, it's a nickname.
Okay.
So
all right. Thank God.
Yeah.
Okay. And I know I'm going to make sure that you write that one card that you needed some accountability with. Okay. And Angela, you've got a whole bunch that you can write, but you also did a lot yesterday. So you're good. Let's just spend the last few minutes being proactive about just doing what we can in the coming year to feel connected and more connected if we want. And kind of like going back to like what this whole community and what I want it to be about is just making sure that we're pouring into our own cups first before we pour into others, and that we can't truly give to others if we're not being our honest selves, like we're talking about, and just really checking in with ourselves. So I just had a couple questions that that I'll probably end up posting in our community if you guys feel like answering all of them. But I first, just a really quick one, from 1 to 10. Okay, you can write this. Hey, mama. There you are. Okay, you can write this down on paper. You can put it in chat, whatever you're comfortable with. 1 to 10. How did you feel on average, just as a whole, okay, in 2022? And I know that's a hard question. And for those of you that put between 1 and 6, follow-up question, what do you want to aim for? What number do you want to aim for realistically and on like in 2023? And what do you need more of or less of to get there? Hey, mama. And for the 7 to 10ers, if we have any, why do you think you felt that way? What worked? And I was going to ask you guys if you wanted to also kind of break that down into, scale 1 to 10 on average. How did you feel mentally? How did you feel physically? And then in your relationships. But like I said, I'll post these to the group. The questions that I really want to ask, that I really want to make sure we have time for, just a couple minutes. I would love for us to reflect on this question. So when things start to feel overwhelming this year, how will I slow down? What can I do to feel less overwhelmed? And I just wrote like the first thing that came to mind. Like for me, it's solitude, time to myself. I've realized this past year that I really need time to myself to think and to just get out of my head and like get a plan out. So that's kind of just the thing that came to mind. And then of course, that doesn't really mean much if we're not actually breaking that down into tangible, actual ways of implementing that. So I just want to challenge us to break down whatever you wrote into what does that look like on a monthly basis? What's something that you can actually see or do on a monthly basis to slow down? And weekly and daily, if you want to push yourself a little bit further. I love your guys' response in the chat. I'm reading it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm. Oh, Mama. She's not trying to be funny, but it's really funny. It's a complicated houseplant. I need more information, Audra. Wait, is that what you need to feel like?
I meant to put on just a complicated house plant.
Gotcha.
Light and water.
That's great.
I misspelled what I was trying to say. Sorry.
Gotcha. Yeah, this is like, these are not groundbreaking things, right? But like, how often do we actually list this stuff out? We scroll through all these prompts all the time and we think about it and we see other people do it. But like, how often do we, as people pleasers, a lot of us, like carve out this time to actually think these through and do these for ourselves? Not very often. So that's my goal with like the coming year in our community, is like to really make this be an intentional space where we do that. Oh my gosh, Kat, that's such a good one. It's like a harsh reality, right? But like when we realize that, we remember that, it's the most helpful thing in the world. Okay. And if you haven't put something in the chat about what that looks like for you, either, on a monthly, weekly, or daily basis. Did everyone get in there? I actually would like for you to put something in the chat, because I'm going to come back to this and hold you guys accountable. I'm going to have a check-in. I'll put mine in here. I'm going to say possibly a quarterly solo trip. That is the dream. And I've got one lined up, and my husband's amazing. Like, he's the one that suggested it this time. And I was like, husbands, take note. That's what you do. It's amazing. Anyway, but if that's not possible, just telling him that I need time. I need an hour here and there.
Have you watched Fair Play?
Yes, I have been talking about that to every parent. That
Every single person I know.
Yeah.
And tell them to watch it.
Like, people aren't even asking me, but I'm sitting at my daughter's ballet class last night in like the little waiting room, and there's cameras and watch them on. And there was like this much of there was this much of like a comment that was made that kind of related to it. And I was like, have you heard of Fair Play? Stop. Why?
Stop.
Yeah.
I know
Um,
there
there a
is
movie or
unicorn
something?
space.
I know there's a book, but is there something to watch?
Yes, on Hulu. It's a documentary that it's around the woman that started Fair Play and her story and how it came to be, and then they profile several different couples, like clients of hers. I'm assuming it's so good. It is so good. I wished every partner watched it. It's so good. Okay, really quickly. I know we're like a minute or two over, but last journal prompt for you guys. When I feel disconnected, what will I do to feel reconnected? So specifically in terms of like your relationships, like if you're feeling lonely, you're feeling off, you're feeling like, yeah, just alone, or like people aren't checking in with you, or maybe you don't have the desire to check in with other people. Like those are all very real things that I think we all go through, and let's call that out. So when I feel disconnected, what will I do to feel reconnected? And for me, it is this community. I love you guys. You're like extended family. And this is where we can just be ourselves. And takes the work out of writing and checking in with people. And hopefully it makes it fun. And I just get so inspired by you guys. So I want to plan more, not just like the monthly workshop, but more events are going to be coming this year. Yeah, for me, it's getting stuff on the calendar for sure. And then forcing myself to show up. Last one, real quick. Okay. How will I be more present this year? What does that actually look like? Let's put that in the chat, because I also want to hold you accountable and give each other ideas. I won't shut up either about the gratitude journal that I have in my shop. That is something that has really helped me to be present. And it's given me like a reason to look for things to be grateful for, of course. But it's, even if I know I'm not going to write it down, it's like I've gotten in this habit of looking for things, which just slows me down and it puts me in the moment. And so that journal, I can't say enough about it. Yeah. Less screen time. Yeah, that's another tough one. But I love that. Oh, that's awesome. I feel like that would be so refreshing if someone asked if I wanted to put my phone on silent, just so that we can, like, that to me would be a compliment, Shayna, to know that someone wanted my full attention.
And I know that especially people with young kids, not even young, my kid's 20 and in college, and I hear his text tone and everything stops. Like, we're always there for our kids. But yeah, if we're being intentional about our time. And then I also wrote this, I don't know, oh, maybe I did put it in there, the hide alerts option on the iPhone, so that certain people don't get my attention when it's convenient for them.
Yeah.
I'm choosing to look at my phone and give them that attention.
Yes.
So I don't hear or see them pop up when they want to talk to me.
Totally. I love that. I turned off all my Instagram notifications on my lock screen. That's made a huge difference. And for other apps too, no lock screen notifications. I'm like, why didn't I do this years ago? Yeah. Be more intentional about connecting with people. Yeah. Proactive. I think that's key, Angela. I love that. Like putting it on the calendar. Yeah. And just having that accountability built into it, right? Because you can't, like, you don't want to be the person that just doesn't show up or drops that thing on your calendar. But there's okay, sorry, we rarely go over like this. Last thing I want to share is, if any of you subscribed to the New York Times, like, have any of you been getting, they've had, okay, Kat, it's like I think it's 7-day kind of wellness challenge. It's around like happiness. And it's, part of me is like, I'm going to share every single word of this, but I also am like, oh, I don't want to, even though it's the New York Times, I don't want to copy their stuff and send it, but like, it's so good.
The 8-minute call. Did you see that one?
Yes.
The 8-minute
That's
call.
exactly where I was going with it. The 8-minute phone call. I'll just share that one and feel okay about it. Yeah. The 8-minute phone call, but scheduling that in. Okay, I am so sorry that we've gone over and we didn't even get to writing, but I am proud of us. I think that was hopefully you guys feel the same way. I felt like that was a really beautiful way to spend an hour. Yeah. Does anyone else want to share any last things before? I know this is ending abruptly, but thank you guys. Thank you for coming in and sharing, honestly. Can we do one last thing in the chat? What's something that you've done recently that's been awesome? Something that you're proud of yourself for? Oh, what? Cold plunging every morning? And yes, Shayna, you showed up to this. And yes, it is kind of awesome, huh? Oh my gosh. I'm proud of myself for still being here and leading these workshops and having this community and having zero short, not falling short of like ideas and motivation for it. Like I'm proud of myself for that, of just staying in it and thinking of ways that we can make this better. Like I feel like we're just getting started. You didn't run away. That's right, Angela. Okay, you guys, we all have a lot to be proud of. And I hope that's the takeaway, is that we are doing really awesome things. And when we stop and take a step back and actually look at it and let it kind of soak in, we're really cool people. Like, we're doing good things. And I just don't want us to forget that, especially so that we can pour into others even more. Okay. That's not all I got. That's what I got through today for you guys. So I'll see you in the group.
When's the next one? I feel like I had it on my calendar wrong. Are they?
I want to move them up to earlier in the month, but I did so it's still the third Thursday of the month for like our monthly workshop. So that's on the calendar now. I forget what exactly the date is, but that's going to be third Thursday, 10 a.m. And then I will be putting some more stuff on the calendar, including like more gatherings like this, where we kind of review, we reflect, have some journal prompts. We're going to have community members maybe lead a session, because we have a lot of really awesome people in here that have a lot to offer. So like my friend Shannon, she's going to do a tapping session with us, which I'm really cool, which is super exciting. Stuff like that. So
great. Awesome.
Okay.
Thank
Don't
you, everyone.
forget to post and tag for more entries, and I'll pick a winner tomorrow. Or
have a great weekend.
Yeah. You guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.